Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. The setup has changed a little bit because I've kind of changed my little room that I had here. So my table, which is there, used to be here and now it's there. Hopefully it doesn't change the dynamics of the video. This video is going to be about driving once again. I did not think that I would get so many views and likes on my the video I did about how I pass and my whole driving journey. So I thought I should do like a little follow-up of my driving, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that too. And then maybe as well I will do a video on my car and, you know, just show you what car I have and that good stuff. We're gonna get into the video like now. Okay, so this video will be the 5 things that I've learned after passing. Because obviously when you're learning to drive, there's so many things that you just don't really realize. Like when you're learning to drive, you're just thinking, I want my freedom, I just want to be independent, all of this. But you don't think about the reality of driving until you get there, and hey, I'll just get straight into it. So number 1, the first thing I learned is that you think you know how to drive until you drive a petrol car. So I know I said in my previous video, you know how to drive. You know how to drive. You know how to drive. You just need to probably fix a few things here and there, but you know how to drive. It's true, but when you drive a petrol car, that's when reality hits you. Because I've been deep in it, yeah. All these instructors use diesel cars. All the cars that I've practiced with have all been diesel cars. And diesel cars, petrol cars are very different. Like, I didn't clock until, like, I think 5 days in, like, driving my own car, like, because I was stalling it so much, and I was just thinking, what the hell was wrong with me? I just passed. Like, did that driving examiner make a mistake passing me? Because I don't get why I'm stalling so much. So then as I'm like getting used to my car, I'm realizing all the cars that I've driven in the past were all diesel, and the car that I'm driving now is petrol, so that must be a factor. And as I did more research, I found that yes, diesel cars don't stall as much as petrol cars, and the technique is very different. So the technique that they teach you in like your driving lessons is that you put the clutch, so you get the biting point with your clutch first, and when you get the biting point, that's when you put the accelerator. But with a petrol car, it doesn't work like that. And literally, that's how I was driving my car, thinking that, oh yeah, like, you know, my instructor taught me well. Yeah, he taught me all the things I need to know, like, you know, it's the biting point, then accelerator. My car said, nope, nope, nope. Because I was stalling so much to the point where the first week of driving, I wanted to cry. And this is like the second week now, so the first week of driving, I wanted to cry. I was literally thinking to myself, why didn't I just drive an automatic? Maybe that would have made my life more easier, because I'm having to get to learn the roads. I'm having to, you know, like learn how to drive my car, and it's just a lot. I don't know if it's all petrol cars, but I know that my car, for it to not stall, I have to get the biting point and press the accelerator at the same time. And at first I was scared because my car was revving a lot, like it sounded like a sports, so like, but okay, I'm not supposed to rev it too much, but you have to press it as well so that it goes. Otherwise, you're gonna stall. So our instructors, I feel like they really need to mention that their car's diesel first, because that's fraud. And yeah, they should mention that their cars are diesel, so at least we know what we're getting ourselves into. Because you can't, you know, make us drive diesel cars thinking that, oh yeah, we're so good at driving, we've passed with this, you know, petrol car, meanwhile it's diesel. So that leads us nicely to the second thing that I've learned. And I've learned that real driving really starts after you pass. Like, I know it's obvious, but you don't deep it until you're actually on the road. So when you're driving, when you're learning to drive, you're always with someone, because obviously when you have a provisional license, you're not allowed to drive by yourself. You always need to have someone there. So obviously when you're driving, there's someone that's guiding you, you know, like that, like the person that's also guiding you is not going to take you in situations that they don't feel comfortable you being. I don't know if you get what I mean. Obviously, when you start driving by yourself, like, you're gonna come across some situations you never come across, like, when you was in your lessons or driving with someone. Because even the other day, like, I was driving, and there's so many parked roads in this England, and it's very annoying. But there was these cars that were parked on the road, and there was just a little space where it was my side, and I was driving, and then someone was also driving, and because there was a turn, I didn't see until I reached the end of that turn and I saw the car. So I had to drive on the pavement to let the car go past and then go back. And obviously that's not really something you go through in your like lesson, so you really have to like be switched on, because in that situation you don't want to hold things back. You just want to go straight and then, you know, be safe about it as well. Still on the point too that real driving starts after you pass. Learning the roads, I did not realize that that was literally very like a big thing. Like, I knew it, but I have to use a GPS everywhere I go, because I don't know what's coming up. I don't know if the road is going to split into four. Like, that is literally the worst thing. Like, you literally have to be alert. You have to look at the road signs. You have to look at your GPS. You have to make sure your car's in the right gear. Like, oh, no. That's another thing that I learned. When you're so used to having someone there with you, it's just a big shock, like when you're by yourself, because there's no one literally telling you, oh, go left or turn at this roundabout, do this, do that. You have to do that by yourself, and you have to make sure you don't crash into someone else, because if you do, your license gets revoked, and that's something that we don't want. We just pass, we're trying to maintain that level. The third thing I've learned is, well, to be honest, I knew this, but in case someone doesn't, I'm just gonna make sure I mention it. Always start with a cheap car, because I'm getting people. I even have a friend of mine, yeah, who says like, oh, I'm gonna get a BMW. I don't know if it was that BMW, but he basically said he was gonna get an expensive car. And good luck to you, my friend, because hey, when you get on the road after passing, honestly, you feel like you can drive, but like I mentioned, you don't. This is literally the realness of the situation, because you're gonna hit something. You might crash into something. Hopefully you don't crash into a car or a person, but you're gonna break something. And so far I've knocked off my wing mirror back cover thing, and I managed to crack my other wing mirror. So that's the reality. And guys, imagine I've been on the road for like 2 weeks now, and I'm just making so many mistakes, which is good, because at least I'm doing it now so that I know what to do to avoid. But yeah, those are the realities. You're not going to be perfect. And since we're here, I'll talk about like what actually happened for me to break those 2 wing mirrors. I feel like I've got beef with those wing mirrors, but I feel like God really has my back, because so many things that I mentioned, people are just like, no, Loren, God is on your side. He really is. Like, I feel like this driving journey has made me realize that God is honestly on my side, because there's so many things that I got away with that I didn't think I could. I must have been driving, and the road I was in, it was a main road, but it was a really tight road where like cars were parked on the side, which is so annoying. Like, why can't you just park somewhere else? But anyways, so I was driving, and the thing is, I was following my dad who was in front of me, and that's something you shouldn't do, because you're not going to be focusing on the road. You're going to be focusing on trying to follow the person. So I did that, and there was a bus coming towards me, and I was like trying to dodge it, but there was a car parked and I just whacked someone's mirror. And literally at that point, I didn't know what to do because I couldn't drive off, but I couldn't stop. So I drove a bit and the car was proper beeping, chasing me. I wasn't going to run. Like, there's nowhere to run. So I found a safe space to park and then I just parked on the side. And the guy came right behind me and he came out the car and he was like, why did you not stop? And I was like, I was trying to find a good place to park because I wasn't going to just stop in the middle of the main road, like, duh. And also, a tip as well, guys, I know people want to seem like, oh, they're good at driving, that they're sick, that this. Listen, those few weeks, months, whatever it will take for you to get used to your car, please have your P plate, because if you don't, hey, they're gonna think that you've been on the road for time, and then when they get you, when they manage to get you and you have to pay, that's on you. But obviously I was with my siblings and I called my dad and told him, yep, Dad, I hit someone. And it was just so then my dad comes in the scene and the guy's just proper looking, and my dad comes in as well and he's just like, so what seems to be the problem? And the guy changed because he looked like he was gonna tell me, oh, you know, give me my money, insurance money, blah blah blah. But my dad came, the guy looked at my dad, the guy looked at me, and it's as if God touched him to calm down, because he went to his car. There was nothing. I'm telling you guys, I hit that car with a strong force. I thought I broke something. His car, nothing happened to his car. My car, nothing happened to my car. Like, literally. And the guy was just like, no, it's fine. You know, it's okay. And the guy disappeared, but I stayed because I didn't realize at that point that my wing mirror back cover thing was off. So I stayed there, and then the guy went back to where I hit him, got my cover thing, and then he came back and gave it to me, and I was just like, God, like, it could have been so much worse. Not only I hit the guy, he didn't charge me, and then he even had the compassion to go and get what I knocked off my car to bring it back to me. Like, honestly. And the funny thing is, I was on my way to church, so I feel like God was really at work there. So I gave my testimony and I literally thank God, because that was just mad. The second time I cracked my wing mirror was just literally because I was trying to park and I was reversing. I didn't really notice the bin that was there, and I just drove into it and the mirror cracked. So nothing really spectacular about the second one, but yeah, that's how I did it. So back to the main point about getting a cheap car. It's better to get a cheap car because you're going to be making those mistakes with this cheap car. So at least if you crack something, it's not expensive to replace. Like, I replaced my I replaced my wing mirror for like £8. Imagine you have you have a BMW, an Audi, or some expensive car, and you decide to crack. You better hope that when you was driving and you heard crack, you better hope that's your leg, because if that's the car, you're going to be paying a lot. The fourth thing I've learned is that you tend to drive better by yourself. And it's a weird one, because for some people, they'd think like, why? Because you're going to be on your own and the anxiety and you feel nervous. But I feel like when you're on your own, you deal with it on your own, because when you're with someone and something's going wrong, that person's there is putting pressure on you, like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. And that's when things go wrong. But obviously, when you're by yourself, you have the time to, you know, process everything, plan out what you're going to do. And yeah, like, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. Because, for example, like, if you've taken the wrong exit of a road, sometimes when you drive with an instructor or someone, they'll be like, oh, you were supposed to go that way. Or sometimes the instructor will literally turn your wheel to go there. And I've had that many times. And I'm just thinking, if you go in the wrong way, you can still just divert. Like, there's no rush. Like, honestly, I feel like that's the best thing about driving by yourself, because there's no rush. Like, you do it in your own time. And that's how you drive safe, because if you're trying to do things perfectly, rush, and you're just planning too much, and like, it's good to plan, but overthinking it, that's when things will go wrong. And the last thing that I've learned is that parking is so difficult. Like, I feel like that's the most difficult part of driving. Like, I didn't realize I didn't realize how hard it was. Like, finding a place to park is really hard because, like, you can drive on the side roads, but most of the time they get filled up. So when they get filled up, where'd you go? Because there's some parking spaces, but you need a permit to park there. And then if you don't have money and you're skint, you can't even park at the place where you have to, like, you get charged for parking there. So it's just, that's literally the hardest thing. Like, I never clocked how hard it is to find a parking space until having my own car. Like, yeah, I really feel like that's the most difficult part of driving, because yeah, like, you don't want to like go somewhere where you will get fined for it because you're not supposed to be there, or you've overstayed your welcome. Yeah, guys, honestly, there's things that you can do though. Like, I've been downloading some apps that tells me where to park, or you can even like book online the parking space that you're gonna take, and then when you get this, like, you can park there. But yeah, honestly, this driving life is not as easy as I thought. Yeah, that is kind of the end of the video. Like, I feel like I've covered the 5 main points so far, but if there are points that I didn't mention, I might make a part 2 of the video. And also, if there's things that you guys want me to talk about, please write that in the comments and I will answer. And also, like, if there are a lot, I will make a video and address everything. Maybe I'll address like insurance and, you know, buying a car, stuff like that, because trust me, like, for me as well, I didn't realize, well, that's an honorable mention, part 6 then. The 6th thing I've learned is that finding a car is actually really difficult. Like, you want to get a car that is not expensive and not like, you know, not, you want to get a car that you can practice in, that's not expensive, but you don't want a car that's just not good quality as well, because if it's a car that keeps breaking down, or if it's a car with high mileage, it's just risky. But anyways, I'll just save that for the next video. If you guys want me to make a video on that, let me know, and then I'll make a video on that. But yeah, that is it for this video. Those were my 5 plus 1 honorable mention. Things that I've learned after passing my driving license. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you with another video. Bye.